Happy Monday, Lucky Lefty Podcast. I'm your boy, Shaun Davis at SD2 Mics. The Onora boys are definitely in the building.
Oh my God.
That dude right there, he is the original Lucky Lefty himself, Malik Zaire. We are brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. It is that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you're going to drink, by all means, make sure that you do so.
I need a drink. We should be drinking right now for the type of foolishness.
Let me intro the show, Left. Let me intro the show. We got bills to pay. Let me, let me intro the show, man. Oh man. Also partnered with, oh man, Rock Financial. Whatever services you might need to fit your small business need, Rock Financial. Go follow them right now. ROK dot biz. Today, our intention was to come on and talk change. And
It's all
it
change.
was inspired by what we watched over the weekend and how really the product has become so really bad in the NBA regular season up to the NBA All Star game. And the All Star game and the weekend has just become
You know,
deplorable, really.
what's up with those Bulls doctors
And,
can't figure out Lonzo? What's up
oh,
with that?
man. And all of a sudden, we thought we were going to be joyous. We thought nothing was released Friday, so as fans, we've been set free. And I don't know. We're going to save the audio for tomorrow's show. I don't know what just transpired,
Yeah, I don't know what just happened.
but all I know is my phone rang, and that was about a 5 to 7 minute rant. So I had to beg my co-host to save it for the pod. So I guess we're going to start with the fact that Jared Parker was just officially introduced to the media and Notre Dame fan base as the offensive coordinator. He spoke to the media, but before he had the opportunity to speak to the media, head coach Marcus Freeman spoke to the media. Left your lasting impressions from Marcus Freeman's
Man, Marcus
press
Freeman,
conference.
I have a bone to pick with you. A lot of it is because you didn't have to go so hard like you did to the point where you made me and probably everybody watching real uncomfortable because it was so cringy watching you squirm around things that we know what happened. You know, we see it. You can't for you to address things outside of the building from things that everybody is perceiving as something that's happening to you. Now this is to you now. This ain't a third party or the dude down the street. We care about you and what happens with you being there. And if something don't smell right, don't sit there and try to talk about, oh, that's just a fart. It wasn't even what it ain't even the dead body that just took place. It's something else. Marcus Freeman, you opened up the conference explaining exactly what we talked about on the Lucky Lefty show. We said you wanted something to fit your vision, something to progress the offense for the guys to be exposed more. You got transfers coming in because of the expectation of what you said you was going to lay out. A pro-style offense. This is what you said. This is what you said. A pro-style offense. And what do you mean by that? And he broke it down. He said, what do I mean by a pro-style offense? What he meant by a pro-style offense was an offense that's multiple and that can help the guys get to the next level and win games. That's what you said. And it's real ironic how much backtracking and sidestepping and flip-flopping you was doing the whole conference. Because you said that's what you looked for. You said you scoured the country. Just the first 5 minutes. I can't even get through the first 5 minutes. He said he scoured the country to find the pro-style offense that fit what he knew can help his team take the next step. The country. He said he can, and after doing that due diligence, talking to his guys, going through the tape, going through the numbers, going through all you need to do to find these coaches, he said it came down to 2 people. He said it came down to 2 people. He said, y'all know about the 2 people. Kansas State and Utah. And he said both guys came in. Not. I called them on the phone. Not. I had to talk to they that talked to them, I was third part. No. I got them both in the office and interviewed them. Because that's what you wanted. You the head coach. And then you tell us, and for whatever reason, they just didn't decide to come. What do you mean? You're at the press conference knowing you're going to get the question, why? Why didn't they come? Don't get to the press conference and say, I did everything that y'all expected me to do as a head coach to make the team better. I brought them in. But for whatever reason, they didn't come. And don't say it was the buyout. Don't say it was Jack. Don't say it was the administration that support me. Don't say it was none of that. They didn't come for their own reasons. So after scouring the country, doing your due diligence, bringing them in, they decided that Utah and Kansas State was better than anything Notre Dame could give them.
That's a bigger issue. The fact that they think that's cool and that's great.
That's what you're telling us.
Go ahead, Les.
That's what you're telling us. That's Marcus Freeman, that's what you're telling us. That after you did all of that, got them to get here to the point where their staff, their fans, their university said, we lost them. We don't have them. We got to start thinking otherwise. The head coach at Utah didn't even pay attention to it because he knew you was gone. He was golfing. And then you say, after doing all of that, somehow down the hallway was your answer. Down the hallway. After going, why you go around the country? You said you interviewed him and halfway you already knew it was a done deal. The guy down the hallway making copies for the offensive coordinator that didn't want him there. Your friend for 10 years. So it took 10 years for you to finally to say, not only are you my friend, but I think you can call my offense for me. So why'd you go around the country? Not only that, the man don't even do the offense you wanted. Now you up there talking about, I ain't going to tell you what he's going to do different that we need to do better on offense. But he's going to elevate us somehow. How? You just said in the press conference, oh, it may not be the offense I want, but this is the offense is going to help us. How? You talking about a man that you've been with 10 years that you just decided, and you said you woke up, said this is the guy, and called Jack and said, Jack, I think I found my guy. Really? Really? You really think that the guy that hired the offensive coordinator for you your first year, which was only last year, all of a sudden gets going about his day, just chilling, get a phone call for you, and you telling him what you thought decided? How? So you just woke up and called him and told him he didn't have no influence, but he hired Tommy. He suggested Al Golden. He suggested that all this stuff, but he got full support for you. How? You said you did the run through the whole country, and the guy that was really the guy that you didn't even waste time to even think about, you hired within a couple of days of interviewing the man, was only down the hallway. Marcus Freeman, what are we doing? I'm not saying you got to go out there and expose the administration, but you went up there and gave me more questions to ask. Why are you going so hard saying, by no means? He actually told you what actually wasn't the case. I didn't sleep with that woman. He said, they do support me. There's never been a case where they don't support me. Why are you addressing that? Why is everybody thinking that if it wasn't the case? And this is for you. Just be like, he talk about, so part of college and NIL and negotiations for a buyout. Yes, the administration's always said they wanted to buy people out, and that's never been a problem. So why didn't they come? For their own reasons. They felt like where they were was so much better than Notre Dame that both of them said, "Nah, I'm good." So how'd you get them there? Why was everybody thinking they were gone? Why was the fan base saying, "Oh, we're getting Andy Luck with da da da," and it's not about a buyout? So where did the buyout come from? Where did the money come from if that was never the case? Why would people be saying, "Oh, it's about money," if that was never the case? Why is Jack Swarbrick addressing it if it was never about the money? Jack Swarbrick didn't take up for you in his letter. He didn't take up for you in there. He was taking up for him. You taking up for him in the conference. Marcus Freeman, this is not going to save you if you're not going out there doing what you're supposed to do coming off of last year. It's not going to save you. They're not looking to save you. How can you expect them to save you with all this going on right now? This is your second year. There was the benefit of the doubt because we had knew that you didn't personally handpick Tommy to be there. Personally handpicked. I'm not saying he wasn't on the board and you wasn't thinking about it and you didn't have him on your short list and none of that. But we know and gave you the benefit of the doubt that we all agreed that that might not have been your number one choice going in there. And that it wasn't your fault going in there. And then you turn around and say, "They fully support me, guys. Listen, you made that decision because Jared Parker is your friend. Because in no qualifications to what you was looking for, to what you getting now, to what is being told to you about what he's going to do, that you can't explain how it's going to be different than last year, is not making sense to me. What is he going to do, Marcus Freeman? You talking about, I don't want to talk about what we're going to do better. You need to talk about what we're going to do better from last year to this year, because that's the whole point. That's the whole point. It's to get better from this last year to this next year. So that's the question. How is that going to be done? You telling us, "Oh, I don't want to speak for him. I don't want to make it about Jared." It is about Jared Parker because you hired him. And we need to know a guy who ain't been a part of no winning seasons in no leadership position of an offensive coordinator or a head coach who's never done that, limited on play calling. You talking about he has called plays. He's called a couple games for West Virginia. That's not no years. You got an Andy Ludwig that's been doing it for years. You got the Kansas State guy that's been doing it for years. Guys that are at this point hot enough to get you over the hump. And you're justifying why you hired a guy that you said was on your own fruition. But he was down the hallway and you did all this work across the country. Come on. Where do you want us to go from here? As a fan, as somebody that's supporting you at this point. We taking your back. You saying it ain't what it is. I'm not saying you got to go out there and say they're not doing you right, but just focus it on how it can be moving forward. You trying to save people, throw us off with stuff, give us stuff that's giving us more questions about what's going on, and it looked like you was uncomfortable. And I'm glad they was asking the right questions. How did you sidestep all the experience and the due diligence you did to get to a guy that isn't at the same quality? You talking about he rose to the top. When? When did he rise to the top? Outside of when we heard about him on Tuesday. When was he on your short list rising to the top where you realizing through all these candidates you interviewing, he just happens to keep going up and up? How? Tommy didn't even let the man do nothing on offense. And he was there with you. The man was there in the building the whole time you was there, to the point where your own offensive coordinator, who was half in, half out anyway, didn't even want your guy there. He wanted a different guy, to the point where he probably had little influence on what was going on in the offense last year. And that's the guy you want running things and go make it better. How? He didn't make it better last year. He didn't make it better last year. He was here. And he wasn't even wanted by the guy calling plays for you that apparently, the way you make it seem, you handpicked Tommy. Because if you just calling Jack saying, "I found my guy down the hallway," not the ones I've been actually doing all the due diligence for, The guy down the hallway is the guy I want, and I only need a half an interview and a couple questions answered and 10 years of friendship to decide in 4 days. In 4 days. In 4 days. And it's not even about Jared Parker being good or bad. It's the process. And is it what we need, or is it what you had to pick, or what you had left to pick? Because I don't believe for 1 second that Jared Parker was on your short list going into it. That's all I'm gonna say. Because he was in the building the whole time. If he was all this, that's what you saying, Marcus Freeman, then as soon as Tommy left, there is no Andy Ludwig. There is no Kansas State offensive coordinator. There is none. You're not scouring the country because of how you're talking about him. He was here the whole time. He should have been, oh, Tommy, you good. I got Jared Parker. Because he's going to fit these questions, and I'm not going to, and I know the man, 10 years, and you're not convincing me you had him on your short list. So 10 years, you already know the guy. He's never been on your short list, and you're telling me that you knew he was the guy off of an interview? Because I know it wasn't off no film. I know it wasn't off no fitting your identity, because you already said that his offense may not be the one you want, but may be the one that can help the guys. And what terminology? Are we running the same thing Tommy was running that he had no hand in? What offense was we going to run? Because you're not telling us what's going to be different, because that's not what you want to make it about. Well, what are you hiring dudes that's not going to make it different? At least tell me he's going to what? So that's all I'm saying.
Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, Lucky Lefty Podcast channel, CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. All of our great content. Leave 5 stars, leave your comments. We respond to all. We greatly appreciate it. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know. We spin it different. This is all I have to say about the day. I'm praying for you, Marcus Freeman.
Me too, man.
That's it.
That's it, man.
I got your back.
We got your back over here, but man,
we said it Thursday and Friday. The only person that could save this debacle was Marcus Freeman and his players.
That's it.
And that hasn't changed.
And it hasn't.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Period. Man, part of me commends you. First of all, you should have never been put in that position.
Never.
Never.
Because that doesn't make sense.
Real leadership would have stepped out in front in the middle of the chaos last week and handled the situation accordingly. Real leadership. The press conference was supposed to be about introducing Jared Parker. We said on Friday's show, as a fan base, we want to move on. Let us free. No one asked you that question. You said all of that stuff unsolicited. Unsolicited. Like, oh, I forgot. I got to get this in.
You addressing rumors outside the building now?
Look, man. Look.
When did that start?
The fan base had your back. Fan base had your back. Fan base had your back.
We had it.
Fan base still has your back.
We still.
I'm praying for you. I believe in this team. Now I'm pulling for this squad, man.
We pulling for the squad. We really are. We just confused sometimes, man.
That's it.
Because we want you to win.
Left, you said something. You said something. I know when we were on the phone before the show. I'll say it. They're not gonna have your back like this.
Oh yeah.
Let things down the line. Let things go the wrong way. I promise you, they will not have your back like this.
They're not gonna have your back.
You can bank on it. Bookmark this day. As hard as you went, I guarantee you,
they will not do the same.
When the going gets tough,
roll out there and lose.
They're not going to have your back like this. They're not.
Go out there with Jared Parker, the guy you knew in the half of interview you took, that woke you up in the morning and said, I know this is my guy, and go out there and lose to Ohio State, Clemson, and USC, and guess what happens to you?
Dude,
They're not going to the interview talking about Marcus Freeman is my guy, ride or die. I ride or die.
and
No.
you know what's so crazy? And I think someone just said it in the chat. I lost the comment. Because like we respect how everybody feels. It's a wide array of emotions and comments today. Look, man, it's about time to stop saying let's move on. You've been asking though. This administration has been asking Notre Dame fans to overlook the BS and move on for 35 years, man. It's too much. It's too much. Stop doing this. Just stop. Fans are fans. We're gonna show up. We're gonna root. Because our fandom has nothing to do with who the AD is, who the father is. Like all of those changes when new people come in, we're still gonna be fans.
We don't hire nobody. We're not firing nobody. We're still fans.
So look, I understand what I watched today. I fully understand what I watched today.
Some hurt. Some real pain.
Sometimes you gotta do what you have to do.
Don't say that. Don't say do what you gotta do because nobody asked you.
Hey, wait, first of all, it's a choice.
Nobody asked you.
It's a choice. It's a choice. But if you feel like that's what you have to do, then by all means,
I guess.
You do it.
You're giving up information and everybody's like, okay, I should start asking about that because I thought this was about something else. You giving out pleas to people that's like, this is about Jared Parker. You talking about buyouts and you got all the support and this is everybody stay out of this and you addressing rumors out. Like, when did we start doing that? Do you feel like you supported Marcus Freeman? I don't know. You was making it seem like we. So I'm glad them questions came how they came.
Yo,
they said
here at the Lucky. As always, we here at the Lucky Lefty podcast. Always. I know when I went on the rant last week, I gave a disclaimer and said what I'm about to say is the opinion of Shaun Davis and Shaun Davis only. Period. I made sure it was not representative of the Lucky Lefty podcast or Malik Zaire. Not one bit. But I'll tell you one thing. Bro. I stand on and double down on everything I said last week.
That's right.
I don't care what was said today. See, because here's the thing. First of all, I will say kudos. Kudos, right? Kudos to Irish Breakdown and Brian Driscoll for being out in front on most of this stuff and for telling the truth on this stuff. I don't care how people view them today. See, most people, especially other people that cover Notre Dame, probably throw their jokes, laugh, and stuff. They're just mad because they continue to get beat. That's all. Irish Breakdown's kicking their butts.
Kicking the butt with the info.
But it was cool. It was cool once the Athletic put out the same story about the same information. It was cool. Right? Well, other publications put out the same thing. So everybody had a misconception about what went down. Everybody.
That's all it was.
And we reported and talked about what they reported, which I stand by and double down. Because I know the sources. I know Brian Driscoll's sources. I'm all in. If we're sitting in a poker table and my hand is the sources of Brian Driscoll on this situation, I'm putting all my chips in the middle of the table. So we're not going to do that. Now, See, it's two sides to every story. I never contacted anybody from Notre Dame, bro. I went to my people on the Utah side. I didn't even want it. I already knew the spin was coming from Notre Dame.
You already knew it was coming.
I went to the people that were talking to Andy
other side.
Ludwig. I went to the other side, right? The other side.
See, that's how you get them. There's
See?
two sides to everything.
See, what everybody keeps focusing on, see the Heather Dennis story, everybody else keeps focusing in on Tuesday.
Yeah.
The buyout, the conversation happened Tuesday. The offer happened Tuesday. Utah reporters reported Monday night that Andy Ludwig had told Notre Dame no. Monday. So what are we talking about? Your timeline does not add up. Somebody's lying. It's the Notre Dame side. It's the Utah side. Somebody's lying.
Somebody lying.
I'm not saying who.
We don't.
Somebody's lying.
Somebody's not telling the truth.
We were supposed to interview Monday night after we did another thing. 30 minutes later, we were supposed to interview Josh Newman from the Salt Lake City Tribune.
He said what?
To welcome Andy Ludwig.
Because he knew.
And 30 minutes later, he hit us back and said, I can't do it. I got breaking news.
Yeah, something's going on.
On Monday. But you want us to believe that everything went down Tuesday. No, something happened Monday or Sunday to lead up to him making a. Somebody's not telling the truth. And that's what I mean.
It's you saying for whatever reason, there's a reason.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean, bro. That's what I mean. You don't have to say anything. Just let it go. Just let it go. You don't have to say anything. Just let it go. Because either way, we have had your back for 35 years of futility. Not going anywhere. Not going anywhere.
We're here.
We're here. And unsolicited. No question. Just unsolicited. You know what? Lucky Lefty Podcast is going to continue to be the home of the misguided passion.
Misguided passion, baby.
Because I'll double down on IB sources, and I'm definitely doubling down on my Utah sources. Doubling down. Because
we were about to interview the Utah reporter. Because the Utah guy out was there.
He even thought it was done. He thought it was over until 30 minutes before he was supposed to come on with us.
Over.
Come on, man.
The man that lives and breathes Utah football said it was over.
And
days so before y'all addressed it.
Look, man, it's crazy that we're dealing with this.
Yeah, basically.
It's crazy we're dealing with this. As I said, I'm praying. I'm praying for our boy. I want to see a natty for Notre Dame fans.
That's right.
I want to see a natty for these players. But forget me. Former Notre Dame players know what it is. See, the fans, we've never been a part of it. Former Notre Dame players know what it is. It's not a really good look right now amongst the former players. I'll just leave it at that. But it's a great day. Because as long as they don't say anything else, like we can move forward. I'm still stuck. That was no reason to mention. None. No, just unsolicited.
We was trying to be off of that. You re-harping the situation to try to see if we here. We're friends. We are supporting you. We believe in the team. We've been trying to move on Friday because you know why? We didn't need you to tell us anything because we found out on our own.
It wasn't cool. And
It was
in a way, the way things were portrayed today was far from cool on multiple levels. I'll leave it at that. It was far from cool. Far from cool. But my grandfather used to tell me what's done in the dark will soon come to light.
and they not save you either.
And he
You
also used to tell me your way will make way for you, and
okay?
your sins will find you out.
Hey,
Just
so
man, seed sown eventually comes above ground. Lucky
just
Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. All of our great content, leave 5 stars. We appreciate you. It's because of you that we've been able to grow and consistently get up every day to talk Notre Dame football. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know we spin it different. Left, we transition because change is on the way. Change has happened this morning at Notre Dame. Change is going to continue to happen. Will it be good for Notre Dame? We'll talk about it on the Lucky Lefty Podcast. Left, you remember Thursday when I threw the NBA on the petty train?
yeah,
And I said there is no reason to ever have an all-star game in Salt Lake City.
yeah,
Like for what? What are we gonna do?
way too cold.
And it's like, dude, it's the all-star weekend. It is a dry city, number one. Everything closes by midnight. That's not conducive to an, if you've ever been to an NBA All-Star weekend, you will understand what we're saying. That's not conducive to an NBA All-Star weekend.
That's not gonna give you the full experience with it being like that.
Yeah, dude. So last 3 years, it's been Cleveland, Salt Lake City, and next year the All-Star game is in Indianapolis. I don't know if Indianapolis is conducive for NBA All-Star weekend. Left. It's
I mean,
cool for a Final Four.
I think Indianapolis got some stuff. It's
Well, I
not
tell you what.
LA, it's not Miami, it's not none of that. But
Well,
Indiana in that little area, the square,
in 25, it's back in LA. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, okay.
In 25 is back in LA.
It's
So,
better places coming down the line.
yeah. But that sparked the conversation that we had because we just didn't like the way things were changing. Now, man, look, you might disagree. Shout out to Mac McClung and what he was able to do in the dunk contest this weekend.
I like that he
Uh,
attempted it, he tried, and he didn't have many. I thought he did good.
oh, he did fantastic. I'm not going as far as say he saved the dunk contest
No. He
and all of that.
just gave the most exciting effort that we've seen in a while, and I think that if the NBA dunk contest has so much more potential, and
Yeah,
I don't know why they just decide to. Maybe they want to give the young guys some exposure. I get that, but
yeah.
Matt McClung just signed a 10-day contract. He wasn't like he was
Facts.
just on the bench somewhere. He was not even in the league.
Facts.
So I don't
Facts.
know how that works.
Facts. Look, man, I don't know if change is necessarily going to be a good thing overall. And I would love to see what LL Nation and everyone watching has to say about this because we know that college football playoff expansion is coming after this season. This is the last season of the 14 format. It's going to be expanded to 12. I just don't like the changes that have because I think once you start changing things, let me give you a few things, right? they changed all the rules to make football in the NFL more appealing on TV, to increase scoring. They took the physicality out of the game. They took hitting and punishing the quarterback out of the game, which made the position a little bit easier to play. And now Daniel Jones is asking for $45 million. You see what I'm saying, Love? See, this is the byproduct. This is the byproduct of making things and making changes, right?
You said 45 million, huh?
He wants $45 million a year. Which, if I'm the Giants, that dude would get laughed. Man, I would laugh right in his face. Like, are you crazy? You want me to go ahead and put
But,
this
but,
print, this
but,
tag
but,
on you?
but
Go
yeah,
ahead.
tagging. However, I thought it was BS when they drafted him that high anyway. So
Well, that's a whole nother conversation.
I don't think it's far fetched for the man. I would ask 45 million. Just say you drafted me number 2.
That's an entirely different conversation.
Yeah.
Some have chosen to look at this weekend and bring scrutiny upon your boy to say that he ruined the dunk contest when he decided not to do it because they didn't elect him to an all-star game as a rookie, and he basically froze the NBA out. He said, I'm not doing the dunk contest, talking about LeBron James.
Oh.
And he's saying how all the other great players participated in the dunk contest, all the players that were considered the best, and not him. And now these young stars don't want to do it, right? Like a Job Morant, like other guys. There truly was no star power this weekend in the NBA. But I think the way the game has changed, I just think more people are more attracted to the 3-point contest than they are the dunk contest. Why? Look at the way the NBA game is played. Look at the way the game is played. So it's changed good. Notre Dame has had a pressure pretty much every year that they can never lose more than one game in a season in order to make the college football playoff because of the lack of affiliation with the conference. With the expansion taking place, that pressure is relieved a little bit because now Notre Dame can probably get in with 2 losses on a season.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good for Notre Dame. Right? Let's say Notre Dame just goes on a run where they're losing 2 games a year and get in. Does that really mean they are closing the gap? Because ultimately, the goal is to close the gap and win a national championship. It's not, because if they're just selling, if they end up selling us, well, we've made the college football playoff 4 years in a row, but you're in the same place. Like you haven't made any progress towards getting to a championship game and ultimately winning.
Well, I do think
I question whether or not expansion and change is ultimately going to be good for Notre Dame. It's something to think about, in my opinion.
It is. I think what also happens too is the way that the playoff structure has changed, making it a 12-team bracket. It's a different gauntlet. So it's no different than how in the NCAA now you're getting into the championship. I mean, the March Madness. They're not necessarily a 1 seed, but they're in there. But if they can battle their way to the championship, they forget about having a terrible regular season because of the new season that you get with this new playoff structure. I think it just getting in is what matters. But when you're in 12-team playoff contention, you playing back-to-back weeks against the top, 10 teams in the country, I do think it does change the outlook of what it means to win a championship once you get to that arena. So it's like the play-in bubble. All those teams that went to the bubble, it became a different style of a way to win a championship, a lot harder. You're not going home. You playing consecutively. You in the same space, not the same resources are changed up and a little different. It makes it harder to win a championship in that aspect. But at the same time, you get an opportunity to look at your season in a different light. The Lakers may not have had a great regular season, but when they hit that bubble, they transformed into a team that had a new season, a new way of doing things, became better. And through winning that championship, that means a lot to them. And I think for Notre Dame and how we go through it, we're going into a 12-team bracket. Getting to the playoffs is really good because it shows that we had the right amount of acumen and talent and ability to do what we've been doing so often. We've been 10 years of being a consistent 10-win team and missing the playoffs from technicalities, 3 or 4 points, uh, a loss or two at the last second. Then when we made the championship, it was a bunch of storylines that got us there. So that expectation of making the playoffs has been the bar that's always limited us and us hitting the ceiling on we can only get to the playoffs if we're undefeated, pretty much. With this playoff expansion, the ceiling's risen. There's a new ceiling, there's a new height to where the playoffs, boom, we in there. Okay, now let's rechange our mind. Now that we in the playoffs, can we get through the gauntlet? Can we beat a Oregon, Ole Miss, and Alabama, and then Clemson in 4 weeks straight to win a championship? I would feel proud of that as a person on the team by Marcus Freeman because okay, all that regular season noise, it was getting played out. We done gave away the winningest coach of all time with no championship. What does it mean? 10-win seasons, we not happy enough. We spoiled. What does it mean? But them 10 wins got us in. That's our golden ticket. But we can talk some stuff. We beat a Bama, LSU, a Ole Miss, Oregon, South Carolina, like all these teams back to back to back to win the championship. That now it makes it even. Now it makes it less reason for us to be in the conference. Because getting into the playoffs is the new conference. It's like now getting into a 12 playoff system, that's better than the SEC, better than the Pac-12, better than the Big Ten. Now it makes sense for everybody to be independent. Or at least have a region. You play your region, and then if you good enough, you get into the ultimate tournament, the NCAA tournament. How much does a college basketball season, regular season even mean? If your name ain't on that bracket, it don't mean nothing. If your name ain't on that 64 team bracket, or was it 32 or 64? You on mute.
I was watching the history. The SEC network has a history of basketball in the South going right now. I think it's like a 7-part series. And of course, guys like Adolph Rupp and other coaches did not allow African American players to play. They didn't recruit them. And then his successor, Joe B. Hall, gets two African American kids from Lexington. The first year he coaches a scholarship, and those two young men lead Kentucky to their first national championship in over a decade. And it just points out that how incredibly difficult it was. The best 32 teams played back then. It wasn't.
Right.
See, expansion is all about money. It's
Right.
not about. Stop thinking that expansion is about finding truly who the best team. Expansion is not about to change who the best team. Georgia and Alabama are going to be better. Look, let's stop. Let's stop. This is about money. This is about money and giving certain fan bases a feeling that they have a shot.
Mm.
In a month, I'm going to have a feeling that Illinois can win the national championship in basketball.
Well,
Knowing darn well that they have no shot at all.
okay,
None.
okay. Think about this though, for football aspect. If Illinois this year, got into a 12-play team, you think they'll go far? Especially how they played Michigan this year?
You talking about 23 or the team
Last
from last year?
team from
It's
last year.
22. No, the quarterback was horrible. No.
So you're saying the game they played against Michigan, they wouldn't give other top. I mean, because Michigan was technically the top 2, 3 team in the country. They
Right.
took them to the wire, and
Yeah.
dang near should have won.
Yeah. Why didn't they win? Why didn't no? Why didn't they win? Why didn't they win? Because of their quarterback.
Because of the
So
call.
they had to
No,
that as well. That as well. Facts. But my point is, if the quarterback played this game, they should have been up 10 points. It should have never came down to the call.
Okay,
That's my point.
but
They outplayed Michigan. It wasn't even close. They outplayed Michigan
no.
at Michigan Stadium.
So that team in the playoff bracket, you're not thinking they making noise?
No,
If Michigan is-
because in a big game, the quarterback was still going to come up short. No, I know my team. This is the same team that beat Iowa 9-6, and Iowa couldn't score. Iowa was horrible. Why? Because the quarterback position was horrible. I watched them go to Indiana, thoroughly outplay Indiana. They should have been up 20 points. The quarterback kept Indiana in the game and allowed Indiana to come back and win on the last drive.
okay,
So
but
this is my point.
TCU had a lot of ugly wins too. Now they had a lot of ugly
That's a
wins.
great that's a great example. But you know what? A team like TCU is the type of team that could get beat
on any
Earl-
Sunday.
Earl-
That's what I'm saying.
Wait. So expansion affects teams like TCU more than it affects teams like Georgia.
Yeah, of course. I agree with that.
So expansion, who does it affect? That's perfect because Notre Dame is pretty much in the middle of Georgia and TCU. So what's the effect on Notre Dame? That's what we're trying to figure out today. What's the effect on the playoff on Notre Dame? Is Notre Dame going to be open for an early round upset in South Bend?
We're going to have to play early round, and it's most likely going to be a home game,
right? Because they won't be in the top 4.
We can't be in the top 4, so we'll always be 5 and playing an extra game like everybody else. It's just it can knock us out.
Now it gives us a greater percentage of chance to make the playoff every year. Yeah. And that's something you can sell to recruits. Oh, we've been in the last
playoffs every year.
Yeah, you're gonna be in the playoffs every year. But the question is, are you going to win? Are you going to win? And once again, because we've been sold so much as a fan base, that's my issue. Are we about to enter into another era of being sold? We've been to the playoffs. We got to the playoffs. And we're no closer to winning a national championship.
But this also begs the question where it comes up why we feel like when moves are being made that don't seem like we're getting to a championship, we have a problem with it. Don't be mad at us for having a problem with it or speculating because we want to get past that monotonous. We made it to the playoffs. 11 games. Can't get over the big one. Can't win the big one. So if the moves were made how we all felt we was on the same page for, rooting for, we wouldn't be saying you not supported getting to a championship in this new system. Because from what you portrayed to us is that you found the answer. You had 2 potential answers for exactly what you said would take us over the hump. A move like this gives everybody the feeling that we're going to make the playoffs, and that's it. That's why we're upset. We want to be feeling the confidence of, okay, we got Andy Ludwig. We're not just going to be no playoff team. We might mess around and Bama might have something on their hands. Georgia might have something on their hands. With a move like this, you leave people thinking, are we going to be able to block next year? Are we going to be able to get to the playoffs next year? Are we beating Clemson, Ohio State, USC next year? Don't blame us. That's the move that was made.
Yeah.
I haven't heard Jared Parker nowhere else in college football on no potential OC hire. I haven't. Did you hear about it? Nobody's heard about it. So to hear about it on Tuesday, him get hired Friday, you know something we don't know. Or these are moves made because nothing else was available after you done had your whole process and gone through your process. So for us, you're right. I think the playoff gives us another chance to be right where we've been, but also give us more credit to if we go and do the damn thing. Because now we're, like you said, the best of the best. Everybody's complaint from the BCS era to this playoff ranking era was that nobody could, like the Coastal Carolinas couldn't get a chance when they're undefeated, this, that, and the third. Now you're going to have all the best teams because now teams are getting so good to where teams are missing the playoffs, losing one game. You talking about Alabama losing 2 games, still making the playoffs, wanting them to make the playoffs, So now it's 32 best. I mean, no, it's the 12 best. And I think you'll have a less control from college football administration on who they're picking. And now you bust it wide open and allow the best team to play to get to the top. Not like the NBA, which I think is the best playoff system because you 7 games, you just the better team.
Oh, facts. Over 7 games, unless injury happens, you definitely find out who the better team is.
I love the NBA playoff system. It's just you can't play football like that.
Right. No. It would be nice if you could, though.
Oh, man.
If you could cut injuries off like you do on Madden and just knew that you would get the same teams playing at peak level, oh, that would be incredible. That would be incredible.
So, unfortunately, you can't have it like that. So, this is the closest thing by putting the best fish in the pond and letting the hottest team win. Because that's how the NCAA works, and it is great. It makes a bunch of money every year.
Yeah.
Even though it's super, super not fair, because you can get a good path. Like who's the team that got a good ass? It was Duke, right? Duke had this super nice path and then lost in championship or something like that. Or Baylor.
Duke, man, look, the Zion Williamson team.
Oh man,
they were the number one seeds, and they gave them the craziest path.
The craziest path.
They had to play Taco Fall to get to the Sweet 16. Then they played somebody else crazy in the Elite 8. Then they played Michigan State in the final. They played Michigan State in the Elite 8 and ended up losing. It's crazy. Do I think a number 12 seed would ever win a national championship? I mean, anything can happen.
I don't think.
Now think about this. Let's say a top team loses its quarterback in the middle of the season.
Right.
Finds a way to get in on the back end of the playoff as an 11, 12 seed.
Yeah.
And then they get their quarterback back for the playoff. And then
or if you get like a 12 seed, wins a great game, and then the next game, the other team's quarterback gets hurt. And then they get over. It's like, stuff like that can happen in a system like that to where, okay, you might get a one-off champion just because Georgia can't. You don't know what can happen. The injuries are on. So 4 weeks in a row playing the top teams in the country, even though you're the best team, anything. Stetson Bennett can't put 4 back-to-back weeks together of 400 yards and 6 touchdowns, can he?
Yeah.
Can he put 4 back-to-back games like that? Then I would have much more respect for what he's doing.
Yeah.
If he played Oregon, Alabama, Notre Dame, and Clemson to win a championship and had 400 yards, 6 touchdowns in each game, I would feel how they feel about him now. But even with Joe Burrow, it would be nice to see Joe Burrow have to go through a gauntlet. Okay, you crushed the regular season. You won the Heisman. Y'all got to play Clemson, Bama, Ohio State, your old team, and then Baylor or something to win.
Right, because it's like for some reason they find a way for Georgia and Bama never to play in the regular season.
Never.
Ever. It's a conference, but these two teams never play in the regular season. Ever. Very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting, right?
That's kind of like which is going to be interesting because once they bring in Texas and Oklahoma, somebody's going to have to move to the east.
Yep.
Georgia's already Alabama's already geographically closer. But you know darn well they're not moving Alabama to the same side. Is
While
Georgia?
Saban's still there? No.
No, it's not happening. It's not happening.
For money purposes.
Yeah, so that's my thing, and I thought it was a reason for a great discussion, because I do believe that as we make changes, this is the world we live in. Like change is inevitable, and the changes we make, as if you watched any of the Avengers, right, or Doctor Strange movies, anytime you impact or throw something into a stream, you create an alternate stream.
Yeah.
You create an alternate flow, and you have to deal with the consequences that are alternate flow. And we just pointed out, what the All Star Saturday Night has become due to decisions that were made years before. It used to be under David Stern that the players had to be there on Friday for All Star Weekend. This cat Luca showed up yesterday. So Adam Silver is just much looser. Man, these dudes don't care about All Star Weekend, man. Your best players don't even care. And I just think we're going to see expansion is another stream that down the road is going to give us some outcomes that we might not like as Notre Dame fans and as college football fans. And we just need to prepare ourselves for the inevitable because it's coming. It's coming.
Could we potentially get a playoff spot? Let's say we undefeated. Could we be a top 4 team if we were undefeated?
No, no. That's part of the negotiation. No,
Deal. Sheesh.
no. Join a conference, you can. Stay independent, you can't.
So the highest we could ever get is fifth. But
It's,
technically, that's first round home game, I guess.
basically,
You're playing for a first round home game for until they make an exception or something.
I think Notre Dame, as long as they sitting at 5-6, they will never have to play against a number one seed. In the second round, they'll either play the 2 or the 3 seed in the second round. So more than likely, they'll have a better chance in the semifinals.
Right.
Think about it. If you are undefeated as Notre Dame, then you're playing the 2 or 3 seed, which you should be favored against
Yeah.
if you're an undefeated Notre Dame. So, it's up to Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, to build that type of team.
Yeah, you're gonna have to build depth, and he's been doing that.
Yeah, he's
We're over,
absolutely been
we're
doing that.
still over scholarship, aren't we? Like 8 guys or something like that.
I'm not sure how the numbers broke down. I thought, well, we still have to wait for the spring to see if there are transfers out because there's still possibility that some guys transfer after the spring, and that might get the numbers down to where they need to be. But you know, as I said before, man, we love LL Nation. From the chat today, it seems like everyone is kind of diverse in their feelings about where everything is. Do you feel like LL question of the day? Do you feel like CFP expansion is an advantage for Notre Dame? That's the question of the day. College football
I think
playoff expansion.
oh,
Is it a positive for Notre Dame? Is
I
it an
really
advantage?
it just moves the goalposts for Notre Dame. Like you
Hmm.
said, our whole thing was trying to make it, trying to make it, trying to make it. Now is we're making it, we're making it, we're making it. But the result of both is that are we winning it? I think not being in the conference, it just plays out the same. Are we going to win
Yeah,
it or not? Now it's a
yeah,
tougher road, and I think it can help us if we refresh going into a quote unquote new season.
hmm.
'Cause what 4 games to a championship or
No,
3 games?
first it's three.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's technically a new season, a third of a season. I mean, a fourth of a season.
yeah.
So if we can take advantage of reshaping ourselves as that, because we know we're as the new season we're gonna play a 2 or 3 seed, and then it only gets easier from there at that point because unless the one just is winning outright, We have a chance to get there a lot better than some other teams that may enter in the playoff system. So I think that that is our new goalpost.
Hmm.
The end result, man, if we don't have a quarterback, if we can't get on the same page on this staff issue, that's that is what it is. I don't know how you get grow better, even if you do hire somebody new. You got to be able to. Some things are a staple. Your quarterback is a staple to a championship. A great head coach is a staple to a championship. A great defense, which we've had a lot, is an ingredient, but it ain't gonna be the end all be all. Because the championship games points are being scored.
Facts.
Even against the best teams. They gave up 45 points.
Yo,
So you gotta have that dude at quarterback.
now this is something else though. Now I will say, I think football playoff expansion will affect scoring in the first two
Yes.
rounds
Yes.
because you don't have a full month now to scheme.
You don't.
You don't
It
have a
might.
full month to scheme.
It's true.
So now you have enough time, maybe a couple of weeks to
Maybe.
get maybe a week to get guys rest. You can't scheme a whole month for that first round matchup. Now
Yeah.
the teams that get the buys, they have an advantage as far as scheme because they will have that buy,
We don't get it by unless they give
and
a
we
week
can't get
after
that
the.
buy. Yeah,
Well, do the playoff games include conference championship games?
yeah.
So we
No,
might
no,
have
no, no.
that
You
week.
said conference championship game? No, the conference championship game, if I'm not mistaken, is still going to lead into the seeding and the automatic bids. So I
Oh, so we'll
think
have that week off.
it's just like the basketball tournament. Whomever the conference champion is will have the automatic bid from
Into the
those
playoff.
from the Power Five. Yes,
So it's not going to be seeded before that. Okay, so then we'll have that week of conference championship play still
yeah,
off.
off.
Okay, so that'll be our first round bye,
Right.
essentially.
Essentially. I
So
guess
it
you're
plays
right
out
about
the
that
same.
there.
Yeah, it just plays out the same. Are we going to win a championship or not?
You know, now it's going to be very interesting to see if the scoring picks up
Yeah,
as I anticipate that the scoring will pick up as the playoffs go along, or if the scoring stays pretty much on par. Because I think Ohio State did what they did to Georgia because they had a whole month to
they had
prepare.
time.
They
Yeah.
had a month to
Well,
prepare.
well, well. Okay. They
No, no,
also
no.
have
The
top.
way they did it, the way they did it. If they just had a week to prepare, that game wouldn't have been
Really?
it
I
wouldn't have
mean,
gone
look
like
at the
that.
game. If
It
you
would have
look
been
back at
it would have been in the 30s. Because
oh,
look,
no.
how much are you really coming off Michigan, right? You have the off week because you can go to the conference championship game, and then you're facing Georgia like the next week.
I think I mean, just the way they
Listen
played.
to wait. Physically, wait a minute. Physically, guys don't have a month to get back and feel better. I'm just saying, it's a lot that's going to
State's
change.
defense gave up 40 points against Michigan and 40 against Georgia. It didn't change with
No,
the
I'm not
month.
talking about. I'm not talking about Ohio State's defense. I'm talking about what Ohio State's offense was able to scheme
From
against
there,
Georgia's defense.
we know that Ohio State really ain't got no scheme. It's CJ and they best receivers versus whatever the other team got. And the way they had plays, some of them plays wasn't like, oh, that was smart. It was
You
like, man, they got
know, I'm
dudes.
going to cut that part up and put it on TikTok just for Ohio State fans, since you love trolling them so darn
It's
much.
true though. Come on, what schemes do they really have? It's they have the best quarterback and they got the best receiver, and that's all that whole connection. They was frying Georgia with that too, just throwing it to them. What did you at any point did you say, man, Ohio State got some plays for Georgia, or was it like, man, Marvin Harrison is just dogging these dudes? CJ Stroud is really a number one pick. Like he's really. It just so happens we have a really good defense, and so we gave CJ problems.
Yeah,
But that's before they even knew Mark. They was still on Nick Jackson and Jigba Smith over at that point.
facts.
They was like, wait a minute, wait, this Marvin Harrison guy, he's pretty good. And CJ was like, you know what? I should just start throwing it to him. Next thing you know, he's on ESPN top highlights, making one hand grabs out of
Yeah.
bounds. That's not a scheme.
Yeah.
That's two best players in the country against whatever the other team got. And that's what they did to Georgia. That's why I'm like, that may have been the same game because both defenses wasn't there. Usually you need more weeks to get your defense better. They had a month and gave up 50 points.
It's going to be interesting to see how, not having that month off gets teams ready and how they're able to come back. And I think injuries, possibly getting players back at a certain time, not getting players to be back in the first round, because they had more time, for the bowl game. It's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out. I had an interesting comment here from Stoop the Five, big time Oklahoma fan. He said, "How does Notre Dame compete financially in this era of expansion?"
We won any financial game. Let's just put it out there like
Dude,
that.
so look, look. This once again. Let me explain this to people. I'm gonna understand. This is the era of independence, whether it's in music, TV. That's the way of the world. Notre Dame just happened to be before its time and understood the power of independence. So you give me 300,000, I could probably build a fantastic crib here in Illinois, Left. If I give you 300,000, you're not getting much out there in LA, bro.
A nice apartment.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But it's the same 300,000. You understand what I'm saying? So
you're getting way more bang for your buck over there.
Absolutely. So everyone is trying to do. Notre Dame has no financial problems, man.
No.
Notre Dame doesn't have endowment. They're top 3 always. They got plenty of money saved up. Plenty of money. The alumni always willing to give money. What did they raise?
$5 million in 5 hours.
That was crazy.
Come on, man. That's
crazy.
Not a normal. That's why I was like, it's so funny. Jack hit us with that end of the letter. Join the New Rockney Foundation to give us more money.
They have a new apparel deal coming up. That's probably about to be six figures.
The
They have
last
a new
one was
TV
100
deal.
million.
They got a new TV deal coming up. That's about to be crazy. Notre Dame's going to be fine. They're going to get a home playoff game. That's what they're getting out of this playoff expansion.
Every time.
What they negotiated. They're getting a home playoff game and probably a road second round game. And that's it. What they care about is that home playoff game and that gate.
In that gate.
That's
the money at the gate.
That's what they care about. Getting a home. Yes. That's what Notre Dame cares about. Getting that home playoff game.
They need that door fee.
Absolutely.
I need the fee at the door. Everything else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is what I laugh and tell people. Especially Ohio State, Michigan fans that, still begging us to join the Big Ten while they talk about us. Like they talk about us, but then, man, why don't y'all join the Big Ten? Wait a minute. Michigan, you were the reason we couldn't get into the Big Ten. You vetoed Notre Dame not getting in. So
interesting.
Real interesting. Ohio State and Michigan do all the heavy lifting, and Rutgers walks away with a check. How would you feel about that, Left? If I left the show and you had to do the show solo for 2 months by yourself, wouldn't you be like, "Hey, bro, come on, man.
Yeah,
we got to renegotiate."
Yeah, bring your bread to the potluck, man. Rutgers is over there just leeching off of the Big Ten.
Man, leeching. Rutgers
leeching off of Michigan and Ohio State, or really Ohio State.
Vanderbilt is making a killing off of the backs of Georgia and Alabama. A killing. And dude, Vanderbilt is a magnificent campus.
And it's nice.
Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, it's a beautiful
Vanderbilt is nice.
Beautiful campus. I remember when I took baby girl on her visit. Fantastic campus. If you're ever in Nashville, you want to go to breakfast, go to the Pancake Pantry. It's
That's right.
absolutely fantastic. I love crispy bacon, bro. They know how to make that bacon perfectly crispy. But I
And that's what
digress.
they're doing. That's what and that's what it is. They're
And
building their campus up off the backs of losses.
yeah, that dude, Notre
Check.
Dame has two fat contracts coming up. They have no problem at all
TV and
financially.
apparel deal is gonna go crazy because you know those contracts are for years, maybe 7 or 8 years. You know what I'm saying? Like this is that's what makes it so funny when you get these buyout stuff, this buyout questions. Like we can't find the money, but we raking in all this money.
Hmm.
They're defending that. They're not defending Marcus Freeman. They defending that.
Yeah,
Like, whoa, 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 whoa.
yeah,
We're not giving up our good stewardship.
yeah,
Not the $500 billion we about to make next year. That's not why we're not buying the dude out. It's our good stewardship.
yeah.
So that's what they're defending. Good stewardship. They're not defending Marcus Freeman for that. So we
Man, look,
oh,
it's still a good day, and we will break down what Marcus Freeman and Jared Parker had to say on tomorrow's show, Lucky Podcast. Tonight we have a special treat for Notre Dame fans. We're going to be on the air at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You're going to love what we have for you tonight, man. Um, it's going to be fantastic. I promise you that. Let's get to some of our questions and comments. Let's see. Long time listener Lee Marie says, with respect, I don't understand how you can challenge what Freeman said. I choose to believe the coach and what he said today. The coaches decide to stay where they were. Time to move on. Well, with respect, Lee Marie, we can challenge it because there's two sides to every story
number
and
one,
somebody's lying.
somebody's
So
lying.
either you believe Notre Dame or you
And
believe the
that's
people that
fine.
and the sources from Utah. And it's
But their
fine.
sources are different.
What I can tell you is the timeline that Notre Dame put out does not line up. It doesn't line up. So either they need to do a better job with the story they're putting out and clean up the timeline, or else the way it stands,
We
nah.
fell into the truth on just doing our job.
Literally.
Like the dude was about to, we was just investigating the story on the other side, being the smart journalist that happens here at the podcast, to the point where they even told us. We like, wait a minute, we expecting a whole nother okay. So
Like
just
we're
doing
trying
your
to
job, being on time, you'll find the truth because the truth always comes out.
we were simply trying to talk to him about Andy Ludwig coming to Notre Dame and what Notre Dame would be getting. And literally, we got caught up in the middle of him breaking the story on Monday night. But the Notre Dame timeline is all about Tuesday.
And Utah is behind on time.
So if you're negotiating on Tuesday, and he said no on Tuesday, but the Utah reporter broke the story Monday night that he wasn't coming to Notre Dame and reported it was because of the buyout. What what so the buyout wasn't an issue or wasn't an issue? Well, Marcus Freeman said today, negotiating buyouts is what happens all the time.
It's what
So that
happens all the time.
so that goes back to what Notre Dame fans were upset about. Why are we trying to negotiate? Why are we trying to negotiate?
Yeah. It's a buyout knowing that we're just about to rake in all this $5 trillion from these deals.
It's what
Buyout shouldn't be
boosters.
a conversation, shouldn't be a story, shouldn't be an article. It shouldn't be an
Yes,
obstacle.
it's
It
what the
shouldn't be
alum. It's what the alumni base had a problem with. Why are we negotiating? Like we can get that in 10 minutes.
less than.
That's the issue. That's the issue. Period. We're not decision makers. All we're saying is, man, look, stop trying to just throw dirt over something as if people are just going to ignore it. Come on, man. Just
Let us
Today
know.
was supposed today once again. Today was supposed to be about Jared Parker.
Wait, I thought today was supposed to be about going over the Cal game.
Today was supposed to be about Jared Parker, and once again, Notre Dame found a way to make it about something else. And for what? No, dude, Notre Dame fans didn't care. They didn't care about that. They just did. David Littlefield, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you, my guy. I got Truman, Theodore Dumel. Man, are you guys really about to settle for Derek Carr up there, bro? Instead of trade for Aaron Rodgers? I hope not. Jared Parker will be a secret weapon for us. Let our haters sleep like Rip Van Winkle. We got this. Go Irish. Let's dunk on them like Nike Mac McClung. I hope Mac does get a Nike contract. Real talk. I hope
Yeah,
he does. I
you
hope he
should,
does. I
he
hope he does.
fits the
And personally, look, we talked about it last week. I prefer, I prefer the combination of Jared Parker and Gino Gaduli.
yes.
I prefer having an
Yeah.
OC and a quarterback coach as opposed to having the OC doing two jobs and then having the tight ends coach. Like I prefer it. The
We
way it's
did get
worked
better in
out,
that aspect.
we've said
Because
that.
because the question then becomes, okay, do as long as it stays on he's calling the plays and the guys developing
Yeah,
how they're brought in,
yeah,
we should be in a really good position
I agree.
because that's better than what we had last year.
Yep, I agree. Just one indie gal. Thank you for the super chat. 2 words: hostage video.
He seemed he really was distressed, but he was making himself distressed. Because you're volunteer, like you said, information that we're thinking this is about Jared Parker. You start copping pleas and making sure you let us know stuff that we didn't ask. It was just a weirder interview.
Man, it's been
But
a
we're
crazy
on
off
Marcus
season.
side. Oh yeah. We're on
Oh
Marcus'
man,
team.
man, there is no other podcast that supports Marcus Freeman. I'm
To the fullest.
man.
So for real, when it comes to that, I mean, Marcus Freeman is going to be all right. I think as long as he knows that every game is important, which I feel like he does, and that every game could be your last. I think that's going to help him coach more free.
Yeah,
You know, when you're thinking you got somebody got your back and they don't, I think that distracts you from what's ahead. But as long as you know what's ahead and you're only worried about that and you rolling with the punches, I think we'll be all right.
John A1. If you're not averaging 20 minutes a night, you shouldn't be at the All Star game. If the NBA continues to go down this path, just invite the internet dudes for the dunk contest. No need to be in the NBA.
They got guys in the NBA that can be like the internet guys though. So I don't, the selection committee, because even it's funny they still have the selection committee for the people in it, but then there's also selecting the judges who obviously are not going for none of the. They're not supporting too much of the guys themselves.
And Lee Marie responded. I don't know if she's responding to somebody in the chat. Um, no, I don't. Did we say everybody at Notre Dame lies?
No,
But they have been caught in. They have been caught in a few last week. So we
they've
can
been caught with their hand in the cookie jar.
a
That's
couple
just
times last week. So that would never be glossed over.
yeah, it can't because now
No.
you're just saying are we not supposed to see what we're seeing?
But yeah, hopefully, we expect good things, man. Quarterback room is better. Coaching is better. There's a word that was mentioned multiple times, or a phrase. Um, I want to make sure I repeat it because they both, Marcus Freeman said this at least 5 times. He talked about a coach that can treat his guys better. I want you guys to remember that. He said it at least 4 or 5 times. Like, if you want to know what might be a difference between Jared Parker this year and what was last year, Marcus Freeman made it clear by saying, treat my guys better or treating my guys right, I believe is what he said. Think about that. He said that at least 4 or 5 times. That might kind of give you a hint to like certain things that might have been taking place. Lucky Letty podcast. Is that a thing now where people are calling Jared Parker War Daddy? I
Jared
saw
Parker,
most. I saw
Jared
all
Parker
weekend.
he hasn't done anything to be called anything yet. I think that he has an opportunity with the quarterback coach coming in, with what we have on the team already, what we have
Mhm.
coming in from recruiting already,
Yeah,
that this is a slam dunk for anybody that really wants to be good at calling offensive plays.
yeah,
This isn't Purdue. This isn't West Virginia. We are giving you the keys to the Ferrari with a driver next to you that's gonna handle all the other stuff.
yeah,
A mechanic.
yeah,
So we got a driver with a mechanic for you. So you don't have to fix the car. You just drive that thing to the championship.
yeah.
So because of the circumstances, I'm a huge fan of Jared Parker, but also having huge expectations to where I'm not taking this whole, oh, let him roll into it.
No, this is not. This is not the spot to be rolling into anything.
No, no, no.
No,
So I'm
no.
gonna need him to be performing better than what we had. I don't care about none of that. I don't know what's different. I want better than what we had because Marcus Freeman, you scoured the country for better.
Yeah,
So if you putting out something that's not better, it's gonna tell a lot more about this conference that you had today. So I'm hoping it works
yeah, yeah,
because you still got everything in front of you. It was never about Jared specifically. It was about you trying to elevate the team and get a better chef for your ingredients. You brought in a chef. Is he better? He better make some damn good food. Because that's what the whole point of it was. You know, the whole point wasn't so much Jared Parker, it was that you wanted a guy to make the team better, and your suggestion didn't come through somehow. And we're left with a guy that was already in the kitchen. So, yeah, he knows what we got. But what was he doing last year, though? Was it that dominated by the one guy where we not only didn't have a quarterback coach, he wasn't taking advice from none of y'all? That's the guy you put in charge now? So I hope it works because if anybody, he knows the best of what we got. That's all.
Indy Norm. Thank you, Indy Norm, for tapping in. We appreciate you. Hey guys, shout out from here in Kettering. From your town, Malik.
Yeah.
Say, I lost my dad to cancer at the Dayton VA Med Center last Thursday. I'll be watching the Irish without him for the first time ever. Go Irish. Well, Norm, our heartfelt condolences and prayers go out to you and
Yeah.
your entire family on the loss of your dad. Um, I already know the way you've spoken about him just briefly. I know he's still with you in so many different ways. And for all of our loved ones, when we do lose them, their investment in us is their legacy to still exist here, even when they're gone. So
That's
he's
right.
still with you, Norm, and he'll be watching you in spirit right next to you each and every Saturday. And hopefully you'll get a chance to shed a tear and remember a national championship with your dad as he watches with you in spirit come next January.
That's right. Just
From
like
the,
Frank Clark, man.
absolutely, from the entire LL Nation and Notre Dame fan base. We appreciate you. Our prayers out to you. Go Irish.
Man, GC, you know how to deliver them eulogies.
Man, I just wanted to make sure that he knew that we love and appreciate
Yeah.
him, and we have his back. We definitely have his back along with his family. Noma Wap says, as always, show lit, chat lit, love LL Nation, love the passion, keep spinning it different. Hey, we're never changing that. Lucky Lefty Podcast, home of the misguided
Misguided
passion. You
passion.
already know. T-shirt coming soon. Believe
T-shirt
that.
coming soon.
T-shirt coming soon.
Home of the
Believe that.
misguided. Home of the misguided passion. Man, I love
Home
that.
of the misguided passion. We'll take it.
We'll
No
take
problem taking it at all. You know what time it is.
Petticoat, petticoat, petticoat junction.
It's time to get petty
We did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
and fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty historic Petty Junction?
Petty Junction, pettiest story of the day brought to you by the Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. You know what? We never thought about doing a Petty Train t-shirt. I guess we do need to do one, huh?
That's right. You just adding
All
to
right.
the store, adding to the,
All right.
podcast
All right.
store.
Petty.
Misguided passion, screen poppers.
All
we
of
got
that.
the Petty Train shirt of the week. You know, you can even customize it. You send in a personal photograph. We can put them as a passenger on the train for you.
Yeah. Shout out to everyone, all the Notre Dame guys that played in the XFL over the weekend, man, getting their shot to continue to play the game they love.
Shout out
Petty
Jack Cole,
Train.
man.
Petty Train. Every NBA player that stepped on that court yesterday. I don't know what that bull was.
Why did the league allow these all pro, type of games, football and basketball, to be so lackadaisical?
Man.
Or turn into like this? It's beyond a player safety thing. Now it's just like y'all just coming to hang out like it's the barbecue or something.
Man, listen here, man. That was despicable, man. You know the All-Star games I grew up on, Left?
Classics. I used to
I
watch
grew
them
up on some
YouTube.
classics, man. I feel bad for these kids right now, man. Because
you waited all season to see your favorite players play against each other for real. Like,
yeah,
that's the fantasy of the All-Star game. Like, you seeing Dr. J and Wilt Chamberlain, Magic, Jordan all on the court at the same time. That's better than Olympics.
man. Hey, dude, I'm sorry. I apologize to all NBA fans, casual sports fans that tuned in to watch that yesterday. That was a poor representation.
You took it to poor.
Man, that was a poor representation of professional basketball.
You see the waste of money on that app that they created where you can put yourself as one of the players in the live game? For what? I don't want to see myself dunking on the Portland Trailblazers. Why would you spend money for that app?
Man,
That's petty. You trying to be too futuristic. Unless you're zapping me from my phone into the game in real life.
Yeah.
I don't want to see one of the players I'm watching be me doing regular people stuff. No.
Facts. Tracy Pines, we'll get this. Thank you for tapping in. Could Everett, I'm assuming you mean Golson, have been a good NFL quarterback?
Talent-wise, I think so. I just think Ev is just so different, man. He's a different individual, man. Love Everett Golson. I just
Ev
don't.
is a renaissance
He's a
type
renaissance man.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
physically though, and throwing the football, man, that man could throw that football, man.
yeah, he really could. He really could. So don't forget, 7 o'clock tonight, special presentation for you guys right here. Lucky Lefty Podcast. We'll make sure we put everything out there on social media so you can remember. That's 7 p.m. Eastern. Yes, Drunk Vigo. I listen to Cypress Hill. I try not to listen to too much, because too much of certain artists. Cypress Hill is real dangerous, bro, to listen to. Real dangerous. I can't listen to too much of Chief Keef. I just can't.
Yeah, it's a little harsh on the ears.
A little harsh on the ears, But when you hear like Finito come on, it's like, okay.
Yeah, it always is a time and place for certain songs.
Yeah. So for Left, I'm Shaun Davis. Have a fantastic day. Great Monday to the start of your week. Hey, Left, man, you didn't tell me they won't kill Billy Baker off the show, bro.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I can't tell you, but he's about to I think he's got another show he's doing.
Okay.
And they replaced him. And they replaced him with Morris Chestnut or something. Who they replaced him with? Another.
Well, Morris Chestnut is the AD at the school.
Yes, that's why that's where they going. That's the direction.
Man, come on.
They can't have too many bald head brothers on there, man.
Y'all messed around and killed Billy Baker off All American.
Because it was going to turn a
put the writers for All American on the petty train for killing Billy Baker.
Think about it. If he stayed, you kept Morris Chestnut, it'd just turn into The Wood, just in college.
I would have been fine with that, bro. I would have been just fine with that.
That's right.
Can't believe Billy Baker's gone, man.
And they did it so fast. They ain't even have it drawn out,
No. It's like we had an accident on the side of the road. We okay, we cool. Everybody pulls up. Cats just walk in the house like, hold on, what?
Yeah, wait. Where the writing at? The writing's supposed to give me some.
Like, come on, man. This is the best you could come up with. Now, my boy is going to have to play the sister because now he has to make sure Olivia is okay. And now they're emotionally going to get reconnected and all that.
Yeah, that's how they do it.
Sister was cool.
Sister
was straight.
She was all doing her thing, man. They got to write it back in.
Man, I think All American just lost me for a little bit. They need to bring you back for a couple of episodes. So I need to bring me back.
Look, I need to be in the background or something.
Yeah, it needs to be you and his son battling for the starting position now, bro.
Exactly. They cut my role because they had remember they put the one quarterback that got arrested or something.
Yeah.
With Jordan. I was supposed to be him. That's who I was supposed to be.
Come on,
the
man.
Competition.
Left needs to be back on All American. Start the hashtag. Left All American. I don't even know what the All American hashtag is. I think it's All American on NBC or something like that.
On the CBW or something. Oh, the baseball ones is different.
All American Homecoming?
Yeah, that's a little. I don't know. I don't get the tennis aspect to it.
The tennis, baseball, HBCU aspect.
Yeah. They're not playing tennis at HBCU right now like that.
Yeah. We'll see, man. But I'm telling you, don't miss tonight. You're going to love it. Lucky Lefty Podcast. For Left, I'm Shaun Davis. Have a fantastic Monday. We'll see you tonight.